Welcome back to another episode of the WildChat. We haven't talked about football in a while. We're not going to talk about football today. We will say great bowl win for the Cats over Utah. Ashleigh and I were there in against Utah in Las Vegas. But let's talk about basketball. Obviously, it's start of January. Big Ten basketball season is here. We're in the thick of it. Let's start with Illinois, right? Really tough game, high hopes, high expectations, right? You had the slip up in non-conference play against Chicago State. You obviously beat Purdue back in December. Expectations are high. You play Illinois on the road. The students aren't there in Illinois. And then you lose by 30.
Yeah. I mean, there still was 97% capacity for that game. So the students weren't there, but, people filled the stadium up. I don't really know how that happened. But according to ESPN, 97%.
I guess Illinois fans are
to be fair,
what else are you going to do?
You're living Champaign.
What else do you have to do besides go to a basketball game? So fair enough. Maybe they all live there for some reason. But yeah, that was rough. I mean, what I thought immediately after that game, which luckily I didn't watch the entire thing, because
I'm so proud of you.
I tried to turn it off, but Adam wouldn't let me.
I was on a flight, so I had an excuse, luckily. But I said earlier this year that I think our big three is really important. And with that in mind, it was Boo Buie, Ryan Langborg, Brooks Barnhizer. That was my big three. But now I'm I mean, I still see that as a big three, but it's is the big three Ty Berry instead of Ryan Langborg? I mean, Ryan Langborg with 2 points in the Illinois game, and that was it. And then Boo Buie had 20, I want to say, and there were really no other strong performers. It wasn't, those games where Boo Buie and Ty Berry and Ryan Langborg all have double-digit 20-point games. Not happening.
You're gonna look at the stat sheet, right? And you'll see Boo Buie got his points, but it wasn't an efficient game. It wasn't an effective game. I have two main takeaways. One kind of funny. My favorite was the Big Ten Network cutting to the Northwestern press ever so often as the game progressed. The beat reporters sitting by the Northwestern bench, and it's just their faces getting longer and longer as the game progresses. But here's the real thing: Brooks Barnhizer hasn't been himself in at least a month and a half. I mean, as soon as the buzz cut happened, what happened with him? But more importantly, the offense looks out of sync. But really, against Illinois, I mean, that team minus Terrence Shannon Jr. doesn't even matter with him. They're just so physical. I mean, that is a legit basketball team. They're going to be problematic in March. They're going to be problematic in the Big Ten tournament. They're going to be problematic later in the season when Northwestern sees them again. It's just their physicality. I think it was a tough matchup for Northwestern. I'm not hitting the panic mode 100% yet, but I'm really nervous. I mean, this offense is out of sync. The defense is so late in their rotations. And then you get Michigan State coming up. We'll talk about that later. But, I mean, are there any good takeaways from this Illinois game?
Well, you want to talk about the offense struggling. To me, that's not the biggest issue. This is a Northwestern team that's bread and butter is its defense. That its whole identity is, hey, we're going to be physical on defense. We're going to be strong on defense. We are going to win low-scoring games. That's everything that Northwestern is made of, and they just allowed Illinois to put up 90-plus points on them. That right there, completely unacceptable. You will lose every single game. Northwestern is arguably a team. Panthers just scored. Let's go. I don't know who scored. Verhage, let's go. Northwestern is a team that if you give up 80 points a game, you are going to lose, and you will not win many games. So to me, that's the single biggest issue. You mentioned Big Three. Adam and I are Miami Heat fans. When we hear Big Three, we think of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. All due respect to Boo Buie, Brooks Barnhizer, and Ryan Langborg, they are no Big Three.
It feels like a New York Knicks kind of Big Three. Like a Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, OG Anunoby on a good day now.
Just a Big Three that's not good enough.
It's a Big Three of borderline all-stars. Boo Buie would be an all-star in the Big Ten. But Brooks, the way he's played so far, and then, I mean, if you want to have Langborg in there, another thing, there's no depth on this team. Who are you bringing off the bench to give you that boost?
Well, and so that is my issue as well. With Boo Buie is an incredible basketball player. However, because of the lack of depth and because of the lack of alternate scoring right now, Boo Buie is being forced into this I need to play hero ball role, which is also kind of leading to him being not as efficient as he possibly can be. Yes, he easily can do that. Last year against Illinois, he had that incredible game, 30-plus points. Yeah, he's been an absolute hero against Michigan State throughout his career, but he needs other options. Last year, he had Chase Audige that he could fall back upon. Yeah, Audige wasn't always the most consistent, but he was there in big moments. Right now, we haven't seen someone step up in a huge way, and I think that's just a big reason.
I mean, here's the thing though, like who's gonna step up? Because like Ty Berry can have a good game, but that's not like you got to remember his career high is still what 25 against Nebraska, and he's not really a 20 plus per game kind of guy. He's a guy that can hit. He's a 3-and-D guy essentially who can attack the rim a little bit. But you got to have more from Ryan Langborg. I know Ashleigh, you're a big Ryan Langborg fan, and he hasn't been there the past couple of weeks, past couple of games. How do they get him back involved in the offense? Is it just him missing shots? What's going on?
Like the past couple of games I've seen from Ryan Langborg, like also the 3-point field goal percentage for him has not been what I saw. Like, look, when I first saw Ryan Langborg, it was for Princeton, like Sweet 16, round of 32, whatever. Princeton's little magical run last year, the Cinderella run that they had, and that's when I first saw Ryan Langborg. And when I saw him then, he was making threes. He was like playing the hero ball. I feel like that Boo Buie has been sort of playing now, and I don't think that's a new thing either. I think I saw that a lot last year, where he would go just run in to take a layup against like three. Whoa, I can't speak English. 3 players were contesting a layup, and he would still go for it anyway because he didn't. Or what it seems to me is like he didn't feel like he could pass the ball to someone else and they would get it done.
But
like,
last year it almost felt like he was making those shots.
No, and I think he was, but not consistently enough where I felt like, oh, Boo Buie can just play hero ball and make these layups and have it work. I feel like last year in our games against Penn State, great example of I feel like that not working. I feel like there was a lot. I mean, that game, both our Penn State games just didn't come together and they were very disappointing. But like, I don't think the hero ball thing is new. But I think it's about time Boo Buie got some help. It's about time. I don't want to say trust because I don't know the team like that. I've never talked to any of them. But like if you don't trust your guys enough to be able to pass the ball when you're up against 3-4 guys that are in the paint trying to defend you, like something needs to change.
I honestly think the biggest thing with Northwestern basketball right now, and this might be a little bit of an overreaction, you can kind of think about it for a sec, but I think Northwestern basketball is in an identity crisis right now. Because you were talking earlier, right? Northwestern basketball, the identity is defense, defense, defense. You play Illinois, and Illinois scrapes you. I mean, you go into the press trap. I mean, that's the bread and butter. And Matt Nicholson he's all over the place. Coleman Hawkins runs right past him like 15 different times. And if that's going to be your bread and butter, I mean, that has to work in big games and big situations. I don't think that was the right matchup for them. But if you're a defensive-minded team and you're trying to, really, lock down defensively, trap the post, lockdown. I mean, obviously that's not working. But low-key, this year you have a little bit more offense, and you might be able to play at a faster pace. We've seen it a couple times. For example, the Purdue game that ended up being pretty high-scoring, even though it went to overtime. A couple other games have, been a little bit higher than we thought in the scoring department. You've got shooters, right? You've got Ty Berry, you've got Ryan Langborg. Brooks Barnhizer has shown that he can, extend from deep. Nick Martinelli's a capable shooter. Boo Buie, obviously, as that main scoring threat. I mean, this team can score the basketball. I think the offense is better than it was last year, but it's worse defensively. And somehow, last year, the reason Northwestern was successful was the defense. The defense is worse this year. The offense is slightly better, but neither is good enough to completely carry this team. And you're kind of in the middle of no man's land where it's like, is this an offensive team? Is this a defensive team? It's like they don't really have a true identity because the defense, it hasn't really been working offensively. They can't make a bucket.
I think that comes down to the loss of Chase Audige as well. All the best to him. We're all huge Chase Audige fans. We love him over here, but like him not being on the team, he stepped up in that defensive role, and I think he's what made that defense really, really good. I mean, at the end of the season, like all these defensive, I don't remember what the names of the awards were, but he was a finalist for one.
Smith,
yeah,
I think, probably.
He was a finalist for a really big award, and
yeah, he won the Big Ten Defense Player of the Year award.
And like he didn't make our defense. I don't want to say that's true, but like it's starting to feel like it now because his absence is not something that's been filled. Like we're still missing the role that he played was just so vast, and I feel like there's a missing piece right now.
You also can't forget about Robbie Barron as well, because he was also a huge part of the defense
last year. Here's the thing, though, because last year Northwestern had the size, and that was a big thing. And not necessarily just size as in like weight, but also the length. You have Robbie Barron starting at the 4. I mean, he's what 6'11", 6'10". He's tall. This year you have Brooks Barnhizer starting at the 4. And you saw it against Illinois. Illinois was just bigger, taller, stronger, quicker, essentially more athletic. And that's why they beat Northwestern. I think it'll be a closer game when Illinois comes to Welsh Ryan Arena, but why don't we pivot?
Well, before we do, I just want to say one thing. Another big issue was just they couldn't make shots. And I think that was another big part of the Illinois game. I don't think you're beating them, even if we are. making more shots, but I don't think you're losing by 30. And I think Northwestern fans are probably looking at the game in a much different light if, just a couple more of those shots went in, because they were just shooting at an abysmal rate. There were moments where they were just going, over 10, over 12 at times, it seemed. But yeah.
Yeah, I will give credit to Marcus Damask. I know Dylan does not appreciate him as a basketball player.
I just
because he's a cat killer, but
yeah.
Really good basketball player. I think he's going to do really interesting and impressive things for Illinois this year. He's definitely a guy to watch. Hopefully not at Northwestern's expense later on in the season. Michigan State on Sunday at Walsh Ryan Arena, really big game. Obviously, Michigan State started the year off one of the highest ranked teams in the AP poll. Lost to James Madison, lost to Arizona, lost to Duke, kind of fell out. But of late, they've kind of been on track. I mean, they beat a really good Indiana State team. And when I mean really good, I mean, this is a tournament team. A couple weeks ago, they just beat Penn State. They blew them out by 30. Athletic team with good guards and size. That's pretty concerning for Northwestern.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a game where I don't want to say it's a must-win game for Northwestern. However, if you do lose this game, you just have zero momentum at all. You start to lose some hope from the fans, which obviously play a huge role in terms of student section. It's a game that, in terms of getting back some of that net ranking and moving up, this is a game that you need to must win. I mean, we're down to, I believe, 80 in the net. So in terms of bracketologist stuff, you don't want to start as well 1 and 2 in Big Ten play. So it just means so much more. It's such a pivotal game that Northwestern's just got to be on their A game for.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like with people in the Welsh, too. I mean, I think Chicago State loss might not have happened if you had people in the Welsh.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that there's definitely has an effect on the players. I mean, I also think you don't win against Purdue if you don't have that student section, right?
Yeah.
Because that motivates you inherently. Hearing people cheering for you, booing the other team, which is always more fun. I think it'll play a big role, but I don't know if it'll play a big enough role, which is what I'm worried about. And I'm hoping that my vibes that I put out when I'm there and I'm just gonna yell at Ryan Langborg, tell him to make some threes. I know he'll listen to me, so it's fine. I'm just hoping that I don't know. I'm with Dylan on this one. I don't want to say must win, but if we don't win, that'll really, really hurt our momentum.
Yeah, you definitely been a hole. I think this is going to be a great game for matchups. Obviously, Boo Buie for Northwestern. You look at Tyson Walker for Michigan State, one of the best point guards in not just the Big Ten, but in the country. He's had a really good start to the year, averaging about 20 a game. Do you think that matchup is really where this is won and lost? Do you think it's on the glass where Northwestern's also struggled? Do you think it's more of the physical side that we've seen against Illinois? What do you think is the key X factor matchup? Dylan, I know he's actually calling the game for the radio station here on campus. Early analysis. What are you zeroing in on?
I mean, you're really putting me on the spot here before I've kind of dived into this prep a whole ton. But
I'm getting you ready.
Tyson Walker is just an incredible basketball player. However, I trust Boo Buie, and I think that's going to be...
Did you just say you didn't trust him 15 minutes ago?
I do trust him. It's just I don't love it when he has to force to be playing hero ball. However, if he's really just allowed to play his game, I think that I 100% trust him. I don't think Boo Buie's going to overpower Tyson Walker, but at the same time, I don't think Tyson Walker's going to overpower Boo Buie. I almost feel like they're going to cancel each other out, almost in a sense, and the game is going to be played outside of that. Yeah. It's going to be kind of just a different story. See, how can AJ Hoggard play? How can Malik Hall play? Where is Northwestern kind of matching up in those aspects? I'm also just really excited to watch Cohen Carr just land some awesome dunks.
Yeah, hopefully cool. Not at Matt Nicholson's expense.
Yeah, I don't want to see
it might be though.
But I just think
just some lobs, just
watching some of those highlights, he seems incredible. It's gonna be cool to watch him in person. But yeah, I think Boo Buie should be able to hold his ground. If Boo Buie can't, then Tyson Walker is just awesome and will easily go off against Northwestern and be the reason they win. So I mean, yeah, obviously that's gonna be a place where you look, but outside of just Tyson Walker, Michigan State has so much talent that can definitely be a factor.
And I think if both teams play their best, these are arguably the two best teams just on guard play alone in the Big Ten. I mean, there's definitely some other considerations there, but if they're playing their best, I mean, this could be an electric guard game. I mean, you talked about AJ Hoggard, you talked about Tyson Walker, you got to remember Jaden Akins too. I mean, this Michigan State team is so talented. It's just which Michigan State team shows up any given day. Hopefully for Northwestern, Michigan State, I don't know, maybe they went to bed late I mean, there's not much going on in Evanston on a Saturday night. But besides the point, it's going to be a huge matchup, and it's really going to dictate the rest of January. I mean, you never want to say a matchup is must-win. Obviously, this is the third game of the Big Ten season, but it feels really monumental. It feels like a big one. It's going to be a raucous atmosphere at Walsh Ryan Arena on Sunday, but it should be fun.
White out. It'll be fun. Hopefully, student section's rocking.
Do we have any score predictions, or are we just...
I feel like for a basketball game, that's tough.
Does Northwestern win?
I'm going to say I'm calling the game, so I have to be neutral, so I can't make a score prediction, so I can't
that.
look stupid. But you guys go ahead.
I'm also covering the game, though, so I can't make a score prediction either.
Okay, yeah,
Ashleigh.
Well, I'm not covering the game. Do I have high hopes for Northwestern? I don't want to say no, but I'm going to say no, because then I'll be more happy if they win. So I'll just leave it at that.
I will say one thing, though. Bold prediction. Tyson Walker puts up 27. Boo Buie puts up 29.
Well, so if we want some fun facts, this is what I was doing today, was researching fun Boo Buie stats.
Let's hear it.
Since 2019, Boo Buie has the 5th most points against Michigan State out of any college basketball player. He has the most 3 points made against Michigan State since 2019, and the 3rd most assists against Michigan State since 2019.
Of any player?
Of any college basketball player since 2019. And since 2021, this is the big part, where we talk about Northwestern being a defensive team. Since 2021, Northwestern is the only Big Ten team to hold Michigan State to less than 30% three-point percentage made, and they are 3rd in the Big Ten in terms of field goal percentage against since 2021 against Michigan State.
He's been saying that all day. I mean, I was going to set you up for the Cohen Carr dunk, but you just took it yourself and two-hand jammed it, so that's great.
Defensive game. That's how Northwestern wins this game, is a defensive game.
I agree with you. I just have a feeling Michigan State has a little too much offense, where this game might get a little bit too fast-paced for Northwestern's liking, but who knows?
It's okay.
We'll see. I think after this game, we'll have a better understanding of where we stand.
I mean, if Northwestern loses this game, where's the panic meter now?
It's over.
Oh, so okay. So
I see.
Struck the scale.
I can't see that, because your 2 Big Ten losses are arguably the 2nd and 3rd best team in the Big Ten.
I mean, Northwestern has played, after Sunday, they will play the 3 most talented teams in the Big Ten.
This starting schedule was as difficult as it gets. It doesn't get much easier. I mean, who is that? I know you have Maryland, Illinois, and Ohio State are the next 3 home games. I don't know who we go on the road to play. But rest of January, that's literally the next couple of hardest Big Ten teams. So
it's playing really good basketball right now. Maryland, any given day, tough team, if Juju Reese decides to score the basketball. And then obviously Illinois, we saw what happened. Yeah. So the Big Ten's tough, as we know, but also really unpredictable. I mean, tonight you saw a Minnesota team that's been hot to start the year beat off a Michigan team that people expected to be kind of better, but have kind of fallen to nothing. I'm low-key high on Michigan.
I'm not.
I'm aware. But Minnesota, they're a sneaky team too. I mean, Northwestern plays them at some point. I think it's away. Right? I don't think it's a home
We
game.
played them home and away last year, so I don't know.
I know. Well, they played them once. That's not an easy game, nor is Nebraska this year either, with the way that they're playing basketball. So
the one good thing though about the Big Ten being good, no quad 4 losses.
That's true. I think the lowest team in the net is 120,
and I believe that's Penn State.
Yeah, I think it's Penn State. I was looking at today in class because my professor love my professors. They're great. They're fantastic.
You know who's been really good? Miami, they just beat Clemson. Let's go Canes.
Okay, it's no longer an ACC discussion.
Okay. The podcast sounds like it's wrapping up.
You want to hit him with the
I can hit him up with the outro. So we're part of the Big Banter family at Big Banter Sports. So all of your Big Ten content will be there. But if you love Northwestern, which I don't think you'd listen to this if you didn't, because why would you do that? I guess biased. We are pretty cool. I guess that could be it too.
People like us.
But if you like us or Northwestern, but preferably if you like us, go to the WildChat on Twitter, X formerly known as Twitter.
It's Twitter. I don't know what X is.
and you will find our YouTube channel, and we post all of our updated episodes on there. So make sure to go check that out.
We'll also be posting power rankings and top 25 rankings every Monday from now on.
Yeah. So, keep an eye out on the Twitter. It's going to be popping. So
we've got some big things planned.
Give us a follow if you're feeling generous.
And if you're still here.
Yeah, if you made it through the 19 minutes and 53 seconds.
Really quick, how many points is Kaylee Walsh putting up tomorrow against Ohio State?
She scored 16 in the last 4. She's going to go for 18.
I was going to say 16. I was going to say she keeps it consistent.
Yeah, I'm going 14. Okay.
Perfect. All right. Peace out.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats, baby.